My name is Don Dendas, and I actually met Jerome 10, 12 years ago in the mid, 2005, 2004 time frame. And he actually gave me a referral. And as a result of meeting Jerome, or Josh, I met Jerome. Well, I had a unique experience, or a unique relationship with Josh and Jerome. We actually ended up buying a building together, and we had businesses that complemented each other. And so my experience working with Josh and Jerome would be that if I had a prospect that we were working with and we had some voids in what we could offer, I was able to go to Josh and Jerome and get them to propose the prospect with me so that we could give them a proposal that would meet all their needs from one set of vendors. When it comes to ethics, I don't think you'll find two people who are more ethical. When I got ready to retire and sell my business, Josh and Jerome bought it from me, and we didn't put together a real long contract. We basically had a one-page, two-page deal where it highlighted the high points and never did have any issues. So that was a very positive experience. But the other thing, and the reason that we got into this agreement, and I didn't have any qualms about getting into it with them, is that I had worked with them all those years, and I found out that their word was as good as gold. And one of the things when I proposed their services for them, or prospective customers working for them, I would always tell people, first of all, they're really super competent people, but when they tell you they're going to do something, they're going to do it, and they are really honest to a fault. Well, I learned that very young, when our relationship first got going. I learned from Jerome that, because there are a lot of IT people, and that's what he was doing. He was in the IT business, and he said, Don, we charge a little bit more, but when we design something and we sell it and install it, we do it to walk away from it, not to create a situation where we're just milking the customer and getting them for all that they've got available. We design it and engineer it so that it works well, and we can walk away from it. I would recommend them for a couple reasons. In addition to what I've already said, they're also two of the most intelligent people that I've ever met in my life, and that showed itself with the way that we approach projects, that we approach things, and just in overall discussions. But they're just, very bright people, and in the big scheme of things, when they were working with customers, they always realized that if they did right by the customer, that everything would work out well for them, and I think that's a really solid philosophy to live by. The thing that I probably learned from Josh and Jerome, because we did work deals together, so there are a lot of times where we were in closing situations together. The big thing I learned from them was to make sure that we'd asked all the right questions and that we had met the client or the customer prospect's needs, and all of a sudden the closing became a very natural thing because we'd listened to the prospect up front, and in the process of designing solutions for him, we would more often than not hit the nail on the head. So it's a very natural thing to ask for a close, and that's what I learned. Well, I think the thing I liked most about working with them as far as it pertained to clients was that in a number of cases, they had to give customers answers to questions that the customer didn't really like, and it would have been easier just to kind of, try to BS your way through it or something, but instead, they gave the answer in a very honest and direct form because they realized that if they weren't honest with the client this time, then there might be other situations where that would occur again. And there would be issues like people would have problems with, what they had, and it wasn't really anything due to what Jerome and Josh had delivered, but because, say, the people put equipment or brought things into the job, and now all of a sudden they expected Josh and Jerome to take care of it as part of the contract, And Josh and Jerome had to say, hey, we love your business, but this is what we've agreed to, and this is what we can fix, and we just don't think we can help you there. The way that Josh and Jerome have been able to help me create time freedom by just doing it correctly the first time and getting everything done up front. It's like that old expression, there's always time to go back, but there's never time to do it correctly. With Josh and Jerome, I learned that if you do it correctly, you don't have to worry about going back, and that's really where we picked up the time freedom. As far as them helping solve problems for me, I think probably their engineering / IT background and their logical way of going things. With me being a salesperson, and I've got a different way that I go about solving problems that somebody with mathematical and quantitative backgrounds do. And I've found that with them using their techniques and their logic system, they were able to look at the big picture, and while looking at the big picture, seeing the shortcuts along the way, and they were able to pass those on to help me become more efficient and a better closer in what we did.